Before their epic clash, Rome and Carthage stood as two very different powers, each with its own unique strengths, ambitions, and ways of life. Their destinies were intertwined by geography, but their paths to greatness could not have been more distinct. For years they eyed each other warily across the sparkling blue waters of the Mediterranean, each aware that the other posed the greatest threat to its future. Rome was a land-based republic, its power rooted in the discipline of its citizen soldiers and the authority of the Senate. The Roman way was built on tradition, order, and the belief that every citizen had a stake in the city's fate. Their ambition was growing rapidly, but until now, it had been focused on uniting the Italian peninsula. Sicily, however, was a tempting prize, an island rich in resources and perfectly positioned between the two rivals. Carthage, by contrast, was a maritime superpower. Its wealth flowed from trade, its harbors bustling with ships from every corner of the known world. The city was ruled by powerful merchant families, and its armies were made up of mercenaries, hardened warriors from across the Mediterranean, loyal only to their paymasters. This diverse army was formidable, but its loyalty was always in question, tied more to gold than to any flag or homeland. The spark that ignited the conflict came from an unexpected source, a band of Italian mercenaries known as the Mamertines. They seized the city of Messana in Sicily, and threatened by their enemies, sent desperate pleas for help to both Rome and Carthage, hoping to play the two giants against each other. Carthage responded first, sending troops and ships to secure its interests. But Rome, wary of Carthaginian power so close to its shores, could not stand by and watch its rival control the vital strait separating Sicily from Italy. For Rome, intervening in Sicily meant taking a bold step beyond the Italian mainland for the first time, risking open war with a naval giant whose fleets dominated the sea. For Carthage, the stakes were just as high. Defending its sphere of influence and protecting its lucrative trade routes was a matter of survival and pride. Sicily's immense wealth, fertile lands, and strategic position at the crossroads of the Mediterranean made it a prize neither side could afford to lose. Whoever controlled Sicily would control the heart of Mediterranean trade and power. Over the fate of a single city, the two greatest powers of the ancient Mediterranean stumbled into a conflict that would rage for more than 20 years, reshaping the world around them. It was not just a battle for territory, but a clash of systems, ambitions, and destinies, a struggle that would decide the future of the Mediterranean for centuries to come. Sicily was the key to the Mediterranean, a crossroads where continents, cultures, and ambitions collided. Its position at the heart of the sea made it a prize that every great power desired. Whoever controlled Sicily controlled the main shipping lanes between Europe and Africa. Every merchant ship, every fleet, every cargo of grain or gold passed within sight of its shores. The island was a gateway and a choke point for the wealth of three continents. For Carthage, its ports and trade depended on holding Sicily. The Carthaginians had built thriving harbors and trading posts, turning the island into a vital link in their commercial empire. Losing Sicily would mean losing their lifeline to the western Mediterranean. The island's volcanic soil made it a breadbasket, rich in grain, wine, and oil, vital for Rome's growing population. Its fertile fields fed armies and cities alike, and whoever ruled Sicily could feed or starve entire nations. Its Greek cities were wealthy and influential, often playing Rome and Carthage against each other. These city-states, with their grand temples and bustling markets, were centers of art, learning, and intrigue, shaping the island's destiny as much as any army. The west was Carthaginian, the east Greek, and the interior rugged, perfect for ambushes and guerrilla war. The mountains and forests offered shelter to rebels and mercenaries, making conquest a slow and bloody affair. Quick victory was impossible. The war would be a slow grind of sieges and skirmishes. Cities changed hands, alliances shifted, and every fortress became a battleground in a conflict that dragged on for years. Sicily's complex mix of cultures and alliances forced Rome to adapt, learning naval warfare, siegecraft, and diplomacy. The Romans, once landlocked, built fleets from scratch, mastered new tactics, and negotiated with cunning Greek tyrants and Carthaginian generals alike. The island became the crucible where Rome transformed from a regional power into a Mediterranean empire. Here, Roman ambition was tested and hardened, forging the skills and strategies that would one day conquer the world. Geography dictated the war's terms and shaped Rome's future. The mountains, coasts, and cities of Sicily became the chessboard on which empires gambled everything. To win Sicily was to win the center of the ancient world. The island's fate would decide the balance of power for centuries to come. The struggle for the island would forge new empires. Every battle, every treaty, every betrayal left its mark on Sicily's soil, shaping the destiny of nations. Sicily was the arena where destinies were decided, a place where the ambitions of Rome, Carthage, and Greece collided, and the future of the Mediterranean was written in blood and stone. In In 264 BCE, Rome faced a crisis. It had no navy while Carthage ruled the seas. Carthaginian ships could resupply their cities and raid Italy at will. Rome needed a fleet, fast. Luck struck. A Carthaginian quinquereme ran aground, and Rome copied it, building ships en masse. Crews trained on land, learning to row in unison before ever touching water. But Roman sailors couldn't match Carthaginian skill in naval maneuvers. So Rome invented the corvus, a boarding bridge with a spike. In battle, they'd grapple enemy ships, turning sea fights into infantry brawls. At Mylae, the corvus stunned Carthage. Roman legionaries stormed enemy decks, winning a shocking victory. The corvus leveled the playing field, letting Rome project its land power onto the sea. Rome's innovation turned its weakness into a strength. The Mediterranean would never be the same. Rome had learned to fight at sea, on its own terms. The balance of power was shifting. The age of Roman naval dominance had begun. Rome and Carthage fielded armies as different as their societies. Rome's legions were citizen soldiers, disciplined, resilient, and loyal to the Republic. After defeat, Rome could quickly raise new armies from its own people. Legionaries fought in heavy armor, using pila and gladius in relentless, grinding advances. Carthage relied on mercenaries, Iberians, Numidians, Gauls, and even war elephants. This gave them flexibility and diverse tactics, but loyalty was always for sale. Communication and cohesion were constant challenges. After losses, Carthage had to hire new troops, costly and slow. Rome's unity and discipline clashed with Carthage's diversity and mercenary system. These differences shaped every battle and the war's outcome. The conflict was as much about military systems as about territory. The First Punic War dragged on for 23 brutal years, becoming one of the longest and most grueling conflicts of the ancient world. Both Rome and Carthage poured enormous resources and manpower into the struggle, transforming Sicily into a vast, blood-soaked battleground. Rome's disciplined legions won early victories on land, pushing Carthaginian forces back and capturing key positions. Yet, Carthaginian strongholds along Sicily's rugged coast stubbornly held out, supplied and reinforced by powerful Carthaginian fleets that dominated the surrounding seas. To break the stalemate, Rome built a navy from scratch, equipping their ships with the innovative corvus boarding ramp. This new tactic allowed Roman soldiers to turn sea battles into infantry clashes, leading to stunning victories at Mylae and Cape Ecnomus. These triumphs opened the way for a daring Roman invasion of North Africa. But on African soil, Roman hopes were dashed. Carthaginian cavalry, led by the skilled Spartan mercenaries Xanthippus, and terrifying war elephants crushed the Roman invaders, forcing them to retreat in defeat. The war ground on in Sicily, devolving into a brutal war of attrition. Cities were besieged, supplies ran low, and both sides suffered heavy losses from disease, starvation, and constant skirmishes. Rome's navy, though initially successful, faced disaster. At Drepana, a crushing defeat was followed by devastating storms that wrecked entire fleets, nearly bankrupting the Roman state and testing the resolve of its people. Meanwhile, Carthage's brilliant general Hamilcar Barca waged a relentless guerrilla campaign in Sicily's mountains, harassing Roman forces and keeping Carthaginian hopes alive even as the war dragged on. Refusing to surrender, Rome rallied. Citizens donated their wealth to build one last fleet, lighter, faster ships, crewed by battle-hardened veterans determined to end the war once and for all. In 241 BCE, off the Aegates Islands, Rome's new fleet met the Carthaginians in a decisive battle. The Roman victory was overwhelming, destroying Carthage's last hope at sea and sealing the fate of the war. Cut off from supplies and exhausted by years of conflict, Carthage had no choice but to sue for peace, accepting harsh terms dictated by Rome. The First Punic War ended not with a single glorious battle, but with the slow grinding down of Carthaginian resistance. A war of endurance, willpower, and sacrifice. Rome's persistence, determination, and willingness to endure hardship had finally paid off, earning them a hard-fought victory. The balance of power in the Mediterranean had shifted forever. Rome emerged as the region's new superpower, setting the stage for centuries of Roman dominance and the next great clash with Carthage. Rome's victory forced Carthage to abandon Sicily and pay a crushing indemnity. The loss of the island and the silver penalty crippled Carthage's economy and pride. The treaty ended the war, but not Carthage's troubles. Unable to pay its mercenary army, Carthage faced a brutal rebellion, the Mercenary War. Mercenaries and local Libyans besieged Carthage itself, fighting for survival and back pay. Hamilcar Barca crushed the revolt, but the conflict exposed Carthage's reliance on hired soldiers. While Carthage was distracted, Rome seized Sardinia and Corsica, demanding even more tribute. Carthage, too weak to resist, had to comply. The seeds of hatred and revenge were sown, especially in Hamilcar and his son Hannibal. The stage was set for a new, even greater conflict. The First Punic War transformed Rome and Carthage. Rome became an overseas empire, creating its first provinces and learning to govern new lands. Wealth from Sicily and the indemnity fueled Rome's rise. Its navy now ruled the western Mediterranean. The Senate grew bolder, seizing Sardinia and Corsica and militarizing Roman society. Rome emerged hardened, confident, and ready to challenge other great powers. For Carthage, the loss of Sicily and Sardinia shattered its trade and economy. The indemnity and humiliation bred a fierce desire for revenge. The mercenary war exposed Carthage's military weaknesses and devastated its homeland. Power shifted to the military faction led by Hamilcar Barca, who turned to Spain to rebuild. In Spain, Hamilcar's son Hannibal would grow up, preparing for a new war with Rome. The seeds of the Second Punic War were sown in the ashes of the First. The First Punic War was one of antiquity's most destructive conflicts. Polybius claims Rome lost 700 warships, Carthage 500. Hundreds of thousands may have died, mostly at sea. The financial toll was ruinous, both states neared bankruptcy. Rome's final fleet was funded by private citizens, gambling on victory. Carthage's indemnity, over 80,000 kilograms of silver, was a crushing burden. Archaeology at the Aegates Islands reveals the war's scale bronze rams, helmets, and amphorae litter the seabed. A Roman helmet, pierced in battle, is a silent witness to the human cost. These relics bring the war's reality to life. Beyond strategy and politics, it was paid in blood and silver. The scars of the First Punic War shaped a generation. The price of Sicily was written in the lives lost and fortunes spent.